There is this subtle problem in relation to suffering. And when I say suffering, I mean internal suffering, psychological and emotional suffering. And here's the problem. When we suffer physically, emotionally, or psychologically, there's a part of us that fearfully and sometimes unconsciously, and even very subtly, pushes against the suffering. A kind of fearful, subtle level of anxiousness. And so here's the paradox, that what we push against pushes back. So it's the fear of fear, the anxiety we feel about our anxiety, and the depressed state we get in relation to our depression, which is part of the problem. This is why allowing ourselves to feel fearful, depressed, anxious, it allows that energy to kind of disintegrate and go away. So then what this means is that sometimes the easiest way of getting rid of anxiety, depression, or some kind of emotional, psychological, or an energy-based suffering is through acceptance. That acceptance isn't saying that, oh, okay, this is fine. It's kind of the understanding that, as Carl Jung said, what we resist persists. What we embrace or bring the light of consciousness and awareness to dissolves or goes away. So if you're facing some kind of suffering today, some kind of problem, there's different ways of dealing with it. Sometimes you may want to raise your serotonin, go for a run, go for a walk, do some yoga. But other times it can be more subtle than that. And the very motivation to exercise can arise from that place of anxiety and tension and fear. So in a way, what we're doing when we do even meditate or run or do our yoga is the motivation, the propulsion behind that is anxiety. So then therefore those practices just lead to more of a feeling of anxiety, or more of the feeling that we're trying to run away from. So sometimes just tune in, try and feel, where is that anxiousness or fear or that unwelcome feeling or emotional state in our being. If we can feel it and identify it, can we almost just kind of relax into it, make our peace with it, allow it to be there? That often removes that subtle level of pushing against it. It creates an openness in which it can either just be more peacefully, so we're not experiencing more anxiety, or sometimes the release of that internal pressure just allows it to dissolve and to go away. And then we arrive at a more peaceful, calm and centered place.